So what I'd like to do is introduce Laura Petty, who is the Collaboration BU Manager for HP Poly, and also Anton, who's the Partner Business Manager for HP. So first kicking off, Laura, I'll hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Danica. All right. Good morning, everyone. Really excited to be here today to give you a bit of an update around what we're doing as HP. And I'm specifically going to talk about our collaboration solutions. And then, as Danica said, we've got Anton here, and he's going to talk more around those kind of core devices in PC. Now, you might kind of be wondering, what do I mean by collaboration with HP? So if anyone isn't aware, HP acquired Poly, which used to be Plantronics and Polycom, a couple of years ago now. And ultimately for us, this really kind of lends into our One HP story. So being able to provide you as our customers options for an entire end user compute solution. So whether that be those core devices of PC, or whether it be headsets or handsets or even meeting room technology, ultimately we have a One HP strategy to make it easy for you. Now, we all know kind of hybrid work has changed. There's no point kind of going into that. It's been 5 years for everybody of a huge amount of change there. But what has kind of changed is the way that we're working. And for us as HP, we're really here to enable that way of working to be seamless and effective. So, AI, that's coming. How are we bringing that into our solutions? How do we make sure that everybody is able to collaborate seamlessly, no matter where they are or what they're doing? And being able to ensure that it's more of a personalized view. So we're not taking a broad brush approach to everybody's devices. We're really able to pick a mix within that range of HP's solution portfolio to get more of that personalized outcome. And ultimately, this kind of approach is to ensure that within that kind of hybrid workplace, we're able to provide the best outcome for users, to make sure that they are engaged, to ensure that they're able to get the best productivity across those devices. So how do we kind of break that down? So for us, particularly from a Poly perspective, it's really about understanding how we're utilizing these devices, whether you're in the office, whether you're on the road, whether you're working from home, to ensure that you have that consistent user experience. So from a strategy point of view, as I say, we want to make sure that you've got that seamless experience. Whether you are at the desk, whether you're in a room, and ultimately for you guys to be able to fully manage those devices, because there's no point in deploying all of these great new solutions if you're not able to see them, manage them, ensure that you're able to push firmware upgrades remotely, being able to help if something goes wrong without having to truck roll to site. Now, for us, we can provide this because we have the broadest portfolio of devices. So whether that be for Microsoft Teams, whether it's Zoom, whether it's Google, we're able to provide you with the flexibility across our device platform. So what does that look like if we kind of break it down? So at the core, you really have those platforms. Now, New Zealand, Microsoft probably makes up, 95% of the conversations that we have on a daily basis. But it doesn't mean that there aren't other platforms out there. We've got Zoom, Google, and actually I'm seeing a lot more of Google in the marketplace now. And so when we look at the devices, we have our personal devices, so headsets and handsets. And then group devices, we have meeting room solutions. So that could be audio or BYOD meeting room options, or it could be the full native experience for Microsoft Teams or Zoom, for example. And underpinning all of that is our management and services. So for us within the Poly range, we have got Poly Lens, which provides you with the insights across those devices. So, a great example is, we've been working with Acquire to help one of their customers asset track headsets, because as much as they may be seen as a commodity item, some of them are a little bit more expensive. So you might want to be able to ensure that should somebody leave, you're able to get that back. With Poly Lens, those are the sorts of things that we're able to do. Outside of that, we've got our support services, so it could be 24/7 support contracts, next business day replacement if something goes wrong. So all of those things are really to provide you with that enterprise experience. But none of this matters if you can't hear anybody clearly. So if we look at some of those AI features that we brought to market and baked in across our devices, the first one we have there is audio. So if we look at Noise Block AI, think about that around actively blocking out non-human speech from being passed through to the far end. So the dog barking, which is always my favorite one, or it could be if you're in a meeting room, it could be the keyboard tapping, or somebody's eating their lunch at the back of the room. So we're actively looking for non-human speech to ensure that those don't become a distraction for anyone on the call. The other one that is really, really important is our acoustic fence technology. So think of this as the cone of silence, where basically we kind of have like a little bubble around users or the meeting room. And ultimately, this is to ensure that any of those outside noises, again, aren't being passed through. So it might be that you have a meeting room that's on a corner of a very, very busy road. You don't want that noise, traffic noise being passed through. So we're essentially able to create a virtual barrier to ensure that nothing is passed through at all. But then if we look at the video side of things, we want to make sure that, it becomes a distraction-free experience. So that could be in the meeting rooms around, if you've got glass walls, ensuring that you don't get unexpected visitors to your meeting. So we can create like a virtual perimeter for video as well now. And then we've got all of those kind of core expectations that everyone has now, right? So your group framing, presenter tracking, speaker framing. Again, it's all about ensuring an equitable experience for everybody in the call, not just to benefit those who happen to be in the meeting room. So this is all really important to ensure that everything that we're deploying in market is future ready, right? We're able to cater to the AI requirements and the expectations of those different platforms. So if we kind of break it down into those different device categories, and I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail on this, but in our headset range, again, you can see they're just a very small sample of some of those devices that we have available. Now, it could be a wireless device like the Focus 2, which is probably our most popular wireless device. It's what I use on a regular basis. Think of things like smart sensors, where if you're listening to music and you take it off, it'll auto pause. You get a phone call, you pick it back up, and as you put the headset on and bring the boom down, it can answer the phone call. So just trying to make it easy for users to connect and join their meetings seamlessly. And as I said, we have a bit of a range to choose from. Your core ones there are ultimately the Voyager range, which is our Bluetooth wireless devices, and the Blackwire family, which is the wired USB devices. But we can also do more of those unique scenarios. So maybe it's contact center within the Encore family, or maybe you've got receptionist staff who need to be able to roam freely within your organization. We can do that with our DECT range of the Savvy family. A huge amount of different options to choose from. And as I kind of mentioned earlier, we talked a lot about right device for the right space. This is also really important to understand right device for the right person, because I can tell you right now, if you gave me a wired headset, I just wouldn't use it because I'm on the road constantly doing, events like this. I need to be able to have something that's super easy and portable. So being able to have that flexibility across those device ranges, that's what we can provide. But where are we kind of going with HP? So we're starting to bring our technology together. So, I'm going to talk a little bit now around Bluetooth Direct, where, essentially in the future, you're not going to need the dongle to be able to connect your headset, to have multiple devices connected at once. This is being baked into the PC itself. So this is just one of the small things that we're doing to bring that 1HP story together. And then just taking a quick kind of look at the meeting room space. So again, it's really important to understand what does the future look like. So Poly was first to market with our latest Microsoft Teams and Zoom devices in 2019, but it's time for a refresh of those. So we recently, over the last kind of 6 months, have announced a range of different devices in our second generation meeting room solutions. And it's really important that we did this because there is a lot coming down the track from those different platform providers. And we have to have the hardware that's capable of supporting that. So think about, Copilot and transcription today that's available, but think about how could you potentially identify who's in the room so that the far end could see the little icon underneath like we have now, who's in there, right? So those are some of the things that are coming down the track. And so it's important to have that hardware capability. And again, we talked about the different options for personal devices to get the best fit, and we can do that in our meeting room solutions too. So whether it's a BYOD USB bar all the way through to a full native room solution, we have the flexibility to provide that. So Android, Windows, small, medium, large, complex rooms, we have that capability. So I'm just going to leave you with a couple of things from us. So we do have some offers available at the moment to help you on that journey for hybrid work. So if we look at the headsets, we've got a promotion running at the moment for buy 5, get 1 free. We have also just announced a buy 20, get 6 free. So take advantage, that's running until the 31st of July. But if you're looking more in terms of those meeting room spaces, we can also do things like My First Meeting Room. So that's essentially where we can provide your first room at not for resale pricing. So you can do a proper installed proof of concept with that space and enable you to really experience what that second generation of devices look like. We also have trade-in as well, so that could be legacy Poly devices or other vendors' devices as well. We can essentially provide a upfront discount on your next purchase, and then we can also collect and recycle any of your old devices in a sustainable way. So look, ultimately, lots to kind of take in from a Poly perspective, and you're going to see more and more of that HP portfolio coming together with Poly. So take advantage of what we have available today. We're here to help. So whether that's through Acquire or through myself or Anton, please feel free to reach out if you would like demo units or anything that we can support with. We're here to help. I'm going to hand it over to Anton now, and he's going to take you through that core device range.
Thank you very much, Laura. It's awesome. Again, good morning, everyone. Thank you for your time to come and listen to us talk today about our products. I'll just take control. There we go. All right, so today, I'm going to talk to you more around some of the devices. I'm going to concentrate on our Elite range. There's some pretty busy slides. Feel free to take screenshots if you need. I've put some sort of busy slides on there because I think there's some information that may be relevant for different people out there, but I'm not going to talk through all of the points on there. So, look, there's been a lot of change in our industry, and it's actually one of the most exciting periods of time. And it is AI. I know, a lot of people saying, "Oh, look, all I hear is AI, AI. Now, AI is something that is going to be around for forever. It's a really exciting tool. That's how I see it. It's something that I've really started to just unlock myself. So I've got myself a brand new AI PC, and honestly, hand on heart, it's been 10 years at HP now. This is the most exciting device that I've had my hands on. Really is a time saver. So I'm going to take you through some of a few little points on our devices, take you through also the new naming convention of our products, and hopefully comes up with a few ideas that you can reach out to the awesome team at Acquire. And following on also from what Laura just mentioned about demo devices, we have a huge demo pool, a great system where basically there's no cost to you. We'll send you out devices. You can load your images on, etc., and then we will take them back off you as well. So nice and easy. So do reach out, because really the only way we can talk all about these and talks about different speeds and feeds, but the only way for you really to know if it's going to benefit yourselves, your end users, is by actually testing them in your environment. So anyway, on to our company strategy. So it really is around looking at that AI-powered information. It is collaborating. If you haven't got that good experience, as Laura just mentioned, you don't feel like you're part of that meeting, a part of the team. And if you're not able to put your input in, it's a waste of everybody's time and money. And I will drive in as well, as it really is starting to become a bit more personalized. I know that we moved away from lots of personas, businesses trying to make things a lot easier and sort of simplifying the personas. I personally see that, if not, it's almost going to create more personas now with AI. There's so many different options, and you also don't want to obviously, spend money where you don't need to. There's no point in just sort of overkilling those products. So it really is about personalization. Move that in. So we've got a big range. We have, like I said, changed our naming convention quite a bit. We do also have a ProBook 2 series, the 200 series, which is not up there, really focused around sort of that low-end education type sort of space. But yeah, ProBook 4, and then we move into our EliteBooks, the 6, the 8, and the now EliteBook X and the Ultra. So I'll talk about the Dragonfly moving, changing across to the Ultra. The reason why we have renamed the Ultra from Dragonfly is it actually is quite a different device. It's really designed about, if we use the picture there, that sort of C-level person who really is on the move, really concentrating about battery power, and wanting a sort of the most premium, the lightest, thinnest device, 9-megapixel camera. But it does also, from being extra light and having an amazing battery life, you'll get a serious amount of battery time on that. And when I do say that, well over a business day's use. It does remove certain features like having the LTE option, a SIM card. It's a non-flip, so it doesn't sort of flip around, the X360 mode. And we also don't have our SureView privacy screen feature, where you can hit it with a push of a button. People can't see sort of on the sides, the diagonals of that, which was a great feature. I did present the other day, and I will just quickly mention it. It is a feature that I think is getting more and more valuable, especially what people are doing on devices. So a very quick story. I was flying over to Australia the other day, and both to and from Australia, 2 different companies, and I did not do it on purpose. I try not to. Fully people's PCs. I cannot believe what was on what people have on their screens. 2 companies actually, which we deal with as companies. But people that are out, it doesn't have to be flying on a plane. People in a cafe, even sitting at your own meeting room, if there's something on your screen that you're not wanting the person next to you. So definitely look into HP SureView. I'll go into a bit more depth on these devices. So look, AI is fundamentally redefining how work gets done. Look, if you're not using AI now, that's perfectly fine, and it's not something which I use every day at this point. We are all using AI in some form or another, whether it just be the blurring of the background, so the new NPUs, the chips, that's going to save your battery life, save the heating on the devices. But if you actually can start to use AI, and again, it's not all about making every email, automatically written for you. But if you can use AI in ways to jumpstart, maybe constructing a letter or constructing a presentation, if you can save 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and there, it all starts to add up. So our goal is to be that leader in AI, and some of the other little tools which I'll come across shortly, hopefully will help you in your daily use. So something that you may have heard around AI is this thing called TOPS, so trillions of operations per second. So that's what the news, we had the G, we had the C, and now we have the NPU. So the NPU really is there for those small, fast little tasks. Things, as I mentioned before, like the blurring background of a Zoom or Teams call. It's taking that instead of using that high processor, which is going to create a lot of energy, start to use your battery, the NPU can pick up those. So I will mention a few times in here around about the different processors that we have on our devices. So pretty much all processors in HP notebooks at the moment will have an NPU. So the ultra-core chips. But then not every ultra-core chip is the same sort of power. So you may have ultra-core chips that only have 11 TOPS, so 11 trillions of operations per second, to devices that are running 55 TOPS. So the main difference here is that a device that is AI enabled is below that sort of 40 TOPS mark, and then a device which is sort of next gen AI, and it will have that nice little fancy logo, that sort of swirly logo there of the AI, that is a 40 plus TOPS device. So some of the features, which I'll talk about later, you do require to have the 40 TOPS. I'm not going to present much on sustainable impact today, but I do just want to highlight that I do challenge anyone to sort of come to us if they think there is a better EUC vendor with a better sustainable story than us. We have made is constantly advancing our products with the amount of recycled products, using cooking oil, using recycled fishing nets. The backpacks you buy are literally made from bottles out of the ocean. But yes, if you have any questions around sustainable impact, you can find them on our website, our full report. Otherwise, you can come to the Acquire team or us, and we can actually give you white papers on the exact models that you are using to show how much carbon is actually used. And now we have also just released carbon neutral care packs. So you can, if you want it to be completely carbon neutral on your products, you can purchase those as well. So here's one of those busy slides. The main part that I want to bring up around the slide here around AI is to point out that security and privacy is very key and is very concerning. That is what a lot of, most people on this call, sort of like if we open up this gateway to AI and everybody can draw from everywhere, and you've also now got people probably putting, hopefully not, but company files or parts of documentation out onto the web, onto places like ChatGPT and DeepSeek, and I'm sure there's 100 other ones out there. That is quite concerning. People just don't sort of think, I guess, or know that once they put that out there, that it's out on the public domain. So what we're saying to talk about now, and when it comes to things like the privacy, is the AI or computing on the edge. So basically computing, the power is on the laptop. We sort of went through this when cloud came out. Everybody was saying, oh, look, I don't need to have 512 memory anymore on my device. I only need 120, 124. But then they're like, all of a sudden it's like, no, hang on, we need to keep stuff on the device. It can't just be relying on the cloud where there's latency, whether there is no connectivity, and just wanting it on the pulse. So what we are starting to look at now is putting putting this power into the devices. So by having that 40 plus TOPS allows your PC to actually run AI completely unconnected to the internet. So that is quite key. So as I said, I'd mention quickly around our new range and the naming convention. I'll hopefully get this quite reasonably simple. The cool part is that we've actually now got a lot more chip manufacturers. So we've got, obviously we've always had the full range of Intel, but now we also have pretty much a complete range with AMD, and Qualcomm now is also coming to the market, slightly different, moving from the x86 to a ARM background. But what we've got now is a better naming convention that makes it a lot easier, hopefully, for everyone moving forward. So if I use for an example, what we used to have a 840 device, instead of it being an 840 device, it would be now a EliteBook 8. And now we've moved, rather than going from G11, etc. So we're back to G1. So an EliteBook 8 G1i, I being Intel. If it was a G1A, it would be AMD, and if it was a Q, well, not that we have an EliteBook 8Q, but if it was a 4 series or 6 series or into the Ultra, we do have a Q. So quite pretty logical that, IAQ. Then we also changed the X360 for the devices which flip around to that name of being a flip. So just removing a few extra numbers there as well. And obviously, instead of going on to the Gen 12 products, we've restarted back onto G1. So not to get too complicated, but the 10 series moves to X, just to keep it in that single. So yeah, from us saying a 645, which would have been an AMD, is now an Elite 6 G1A device. So hopefully that's clear as mud for you. But the series across there, again, re-emphasising that fact of AMD as well. Look, again, this is one of those things where you need to sort of test the products yourselves. We can get AMD to come and talk to you, we can get Intel to come and talk to you, and they're both going to obviously say that they're strong in different areas, and of course they will have different strengths and weaknesses versus each other, but the best way to do that is to get a device in your hands so you can work out what's the best for your organisation. So another very busy slide. Look, there are quite a lot of differences of moving up the stack from our products. A lot of people, our bread and butter types of devices we see going out every day, thousands of these, is the EliteBook 8. But if you are looking at cost is a concern, or is something which you're sort of worried about potentially, dropping down to a 6 or even a 4, it may be that those different types of personas, or there's no reason why you can potentially look at those devices. You can spec them almost the same as the other specs. But again, on the other side of that as well, if you are looking really at that sort of more slightly lightweight devices, there are some of those other features. You are wanting to have 5G connectivity, etc. You may want to move up that stack as well. So just a couple of little of features on our device. So as I slightly mentioned earlier, around the people sort of looking at your devices from the side. Now you may have someone sort of sneaking over your shoulder or looking, I guess, in that seat behind you on the plane. So basically now our devices have this onlooker detection. So it will actually put in a little alert down in your bottom corner if it picks up another pair of eyes sort of looking over your shoulder. It can automatically blur the screen. So sort of emphasising that part there. I mean, you can put as much security as you want in the background, but it doesn't stop, like I said, people opening up information. That ultimately the human on the edge is the last line of defense. So one of the tools which I'm actually really excited about and have definitely started using is this device, this app, which comes on all the new AI 40 plus top devices. You can just download this from the Microsoft Store if you do one of these devices, if it's not already preloaded, or you have sort of blasted our image away. But AI Companion. So look, crudely, this is like a ChatGPT that we've designed. But what's key about this is this device, this is actually on the device. So you do not need to be connected to the web. There are three different options of when you're using this. So basically you can do your ChatGPT discover, hey, tell me about the HP notebooks, hey, turn this into a speech, ask it to do those types of tasks. Then you have analyze. So now you can drop a file or multiple files and create libraries inside. So I could put, for example, I could drop a whole bunch of the data sheets from all the latest laptops into there. And then once I've built that library, then I can go and ask it questions and analyze different things inside. Key thing again to reemphasize is this is closed loop. This is on your device. This is not going outside of your PC. And the other one is perform. So it's quite crazy. I know some of these are easy functions, but you can just ask the device to turn the volume down, dim the screen. From that actual screen, it can actually show you what sort of usage, should I say, is on your device currently, what's your battery, etc. So, it really is a companion. It does sort of feel like that. And having that on the device is one of those key reasons why I do say that this is probably one of the best devices I've ever had, because it just opens up another path. It's like you are communicating a bit with your device. So more than happy to, I'm pretty sure there's some videos out there around AI Companion. But again, if you get one of these devices to test, it's definitely one of the applications that I would look into. Leading on from Laura, where she has mentioned, and obviously in meeting rooms, but also on our devices, again, where we do have now the Poly Studio built into the device. And people sort of say, hey, look, these just, little things. I mean, obviously the sound, if you've got bad sound, if you can't hear me now, that you're more than likely to sort of clock out. Even things if you start to sort of drift off into the distance, or you can't be seen. So if I move across out to the back now, my PC should actually start to recognize that, and that's moved me in. That's not me moving. Being very slick. If I move now back into where I was, it will auto frame me back again. So by actually having me there, it feels that I'm more present in the meeting and more likely to communicate or be communicated with backwards and forwards. So just the little things there really do make a difference, especially because you don't know where people are working from and what their environment is like. So those types of features are quite key. So some of the other AI. So a question which came to me the other day was, what sort of AI? What do I need AI? Nothing's really sort of using AI at the moment. The programs, So what we've done though is all we can do is what's actually on our devices. So we're using AI for things, as I mentioned, the black background blur, taking that sort of away from the CPU, but it's also optimizing the workload. Now you can't feel it, so you're going to take my word. If I pick my device up now, it is cool. It is so much cooler. I've not in the 3 weeks that I've had my device actually even heard the fan turn on. My boss is probably saying I'm not working hard enough, but it's really saves on that power. This battery life seems to be more and more of a request. I'm sure that you get it. People constantly complaining about the battery life. So actually being able to optimize the PC really does help in that area, and that also comes down to where you can sort of monitor a lot of this with some of our tools. Again, that Laura had mentioned. So again, not every business is looking at this at the moment, but one of the sayings which I use is the best way to sort of make your company more sustainable is to buy from a sustainable company. And as mentioned, our products are very sustainable, but now you can also monitor each individual PC's sustainability as well. So sort of just going to dive in a little bit onto these products. I have talked on a little bit about these at the moment. So the Dragonfly to the Ultra, as mentioned, thinner, lighter, very powerful camera on there as well. The keyboards and the feel of our new devices feel amazing as well. And yeah, an amazing screen on that device there. AI, so you do have the option also of a Snapdragon device as well into that. So that has actually been around for a little while now. It was our first full AI device that we had out in the market. So the 1000 series, which now becomes the X series. So this is what I've got now. So I see this, if you're wanting that full experience device, if you are wanting to be able to put a SIM card in the device, have the SureView, have an X360 option, and even quite different now, we've actually also got the ability of having two different colors. So we have got our sort of a quite nice dark blue color and also the new silver color. It's called something fancy, Arctic ice or something along those lines, glacier white. But yeah, so beautiful device. So the G1i or the G1A in that format, and like I said, also in flip as well. So when it comes to the chipset, and this will sort of be a little bit more relevant as I just quickly go down the stack. Don't worry, I'm not going through all of them, but there are different AMD options there. So obviously we'll do a different price point, and then the Lunar Lake for the AI one. So you can see that it's above that 40 top as well. So yeah, beautiful device, latest chipsets, two different colors, nice large keys, and all the different features in that you want to be able to utilize on the device. And AI, as it comes with the AI companion. Something that I should also mention as well is around that AI is with the tops is you've heard of, obviously, I'm sure we've all heard of Copilot. So you've now got Copilot Plus. So Copilot is out on the cloud. The Copilot Plus is a combination of the cloud and also on the edge. But more and more features are becoming, on that Copilot Plus are actually on the edge of the device. So again, needing that tops for that feature as well. So the 800 series, again, as mentioned, this is our sort of probably most businesses go to. So slightly different form factor, slightly again different color, nice heaps of recycled materials into that device. All the quality features. It really is a premium product, and some of the cool little things that we've actually changed on the device. Or one of the sides is on our flip device. We've actually now got a garage pen. So a lot of people have been asking for, hey, can we have a garage pen? We always, we don't always take the pens out because they get lost. And there's a reason for that. Is obviously you've got to find the space inside these devices to actually to dock the pen. But our X360 does have it. And it's pretty cool. So as you can see there, you can fully charge that device in 90 seconds plugged into the device. So that gives you around, I think it's around a solid hour and a half device with just 90 seconds charge if required. So on the chips here, so this is I said be more important. So obviously we've got the two different AMDs, and then we actually have three different Intel options at the moment. So you've got those AI enabled devices up to 11 tops. So that'll pick up the small basic tasks, that background type, but it won't allow you to do things like, say, Copilot Plus or use the AI companion, the HP companion. That's when you need to have that plus 40 plus tops. But why that's good is that's where it comes down to those personas as well. Is we don't need to give all of our end users the full AI experience. So it is great that there are those options there because it does make a price difference. So that's, again, when you want to get those demo devices, get them out, test them, and try your different products. So look, I've gone through that reasonably quickly, and hopefully it sparked a few little conversation starters there. But I know that I'm going to pass back now to Danica, and she's going to sort of open up the floor for a few questions if you've got questions for Laura and myself. And I'll pass it over to you. Thank you, Danica.
Hi, I've just unmuted everybody. So if you did want to ask a question, there's nothing in the chat at the moment. You must have covered everything. There we go.
I did such a great job.
Look, if you do think of any questions, please reach out to your acquired business manager and we can get those answered. And we can also share the slides, can't we, today? Perfect.
Yes.
So we'll distribute the recording and the slides. So I'll take over and we'll just end with a little bit of fun, which is some prizes. So let me share my screen. I'll do it live today. You see my screen?
Yes. This looks exciting.
Here's the prizes. So we've got two HP Voyager 4320 UC headsets worth $265. So we'll draw those first. And then we've got two $50 Visa Prezi cards. Random picker, so it's all transparent. And we will go for our first winner.
Just while you're waiting on that, there is also a question for Anton after.
Okay. Congrats, Leo. Congrats, Liam. Oh, that's close. Congrats, Patel. Sorry if I said that wrong. And no, congrats.
Good.
So I'll stop sharing and
Yep, so there's one slide in there just about if all those AR models are now available in New Zealand. Yes, they are. We have, like I said, I've only just touched on some of the elite products there. I've also got the Pro, and obviously there's also some changes around our workstation devices as well. If you wanted to reach out to your account manager at Acquire, more than happy to share our roadmap slides with you around that as well. So yes, I did actually have it in, but it's a very busy slide, so I actually took it out. And we still do have the G11s available. Usually in New Zealand, we're pretty quick at adopting the new devices, but there is still the G11. So the poor product manager has a lot of products to a big range. But yeah, we still have G11 for a while on most of the platforms. Yes.
okay. Doesn't look like we have any other questions. Okay, thanks everybody for your time today. And thank you, Anton and Laura, for that update. That was fantastic. And we'll let everyone get back to their day. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great
Bye.
one.